Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone who teach 100% truth. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. This your brother Ra'aya, back with another one from GMS Detroit. And we got some more some more foolery in the White House, y'all. I'm gonna start off with this video. It says China feeling the hurt of Iran blockade after profiting handsomely from regime's discount oil. Ex-counterterrorism official, right? So it's looking like China's about to get involved with this thing. It says Trump, and we already know they are, right? But it says Trump may claim he won the fight with Iran, but there's a bigger war already underway, right? And this is what we this is what we were already mentioning, according to prophecy, what was going to happen anyway. Russia is going to get involved, China is going to get involved, and NATO and the EU, they're all going to get involved in this thing, and they're all going to war against each other. And in the midst of that war against each other, Yahweh Shah will return. But the MOTB is pretty much the last prophecy that we're waiting to undergo until Yahweh Shah's return. So let's get this.
But first, deal or no deal?
Iran wants to make a deal, and we're dealing very nicely with them. We're very close to making a deal. That'll be
Hey, his words are smooth as butter. Because you see how he's saying it. We're dealing very nicely with them. But they're not dealing with each other at all. And the fact that he's sitting up here lying constantly, we can see through the lies. Look.
Great thing. They've agreed to almost everything.
But how can
they agreed to almost everything? So if you all are, so to speak, destroying Iran in this war, because don't forget, he has already said that Iran is being beaten. We have destroyed them. We have won the war. We have done what we have to do and all this shit, right? Then what do you mean they agreed to? They can't agree. Y'all can't come to be on one accord that y'all beating them in the war. That means you make the decisions. If you winning, right? Doesn't that happen like that? The winner of the war get the spoils and get to control what's going on.
Iran be both crushed
Oh,
and
look, she's saying the same thing. Hold on, let's go back.
almost everything.
But how can Iran be both crushed and demanding anything from us? Well, they clearly have some leverage, but it's diminishing by the day. Trump's blockade of their port.
Dang, that's how y'all just gonna shoot the lie out like that? They have the most leverage because they have access to the oil that these countries need, let alone the caption of this video says China is feeling the hurt, right? And China is a world superpower. So if China is feeling it, then Babylon the Great most definitely is about to feel it, because China produces most of the things here in Babylon the Great. If they're not getting the oil or the things they need, right? What oil and gasoline or diesel will their ships have to send products over here to Babylon the Great? It's going to be a famine. This is already creating a famine-like scenario, right? Let's keep going.
Is hitting them where it hurts, their wallets.
They're not doing any business. They're unable to do any business.
And if it's hitting Iran, it's not hitting Iran, but it's hitting China, right? And if it costs more for China to bring things over here, then they're gonna raise prices up. Rather, DJT do it through a tariff, which the tariffs is not actually taxing the other countries. They're actually taxing you American fools and blinded Americans, right? That's who it's taxing. So because the prices go up for whoever's ordering something out there, in China, that means the people here are going to be affected even more, and it's going to cause hyperinflation, right? The dollar is devaluing due to this war, the war that he has going on, right? These unnecessary wars like the ones in Ukraine, but this is all the Heavenly Father's doing, you know, to bring these fools down, these Edomites down, right? Let's keep it going.
Is this because of the blockade? And so the combination of having no Navy, having no Air Force, having no anti-aircraft equipment, they have nothing. Everything is gone, including...
That's not true. Then how are they stopping people from going and just taking what they need from the straits? How they're bombing people? How are they about to shoot missiles on whoever going past? Like, what are you talking about? That don't even make sense.
Their leaders. Now they have a new set of leaders.
So what's stopping you from going and doing what you want to do there, if that's the case?
And we find them very reasonable.
Find them very reasonable. It's classic Trump. No need to insult them while they're down. The calm before the deal.
Yo, I'm starting to peep. You know how DJT was talking about CNN fake news. CNN fake news. I'm like, man, the Fox News is some fake ass news. We already know all of these news is fake, but Fox News, that's some crazy work right there. Like, he got to be paying these people, or you know, the small hats. We already know they already own all these. Matter of fact, I'm gonna look that up.
Find them very reasonable. It's classic Trump. No need to insult them while they're down. The calm before the deal. Diplomatic sources are saying the next round of direct talks could take place as early as this weekend, with draft frameworks already circulating between the intermediaries.
Pakistan has been great. They've been so good. Islamabad, I might go. Yeah. If the deal is signed in Islamabad, I might go.
He likes doing deals. He might go. Well, de-escalation seems to be breaking out all over. There are fragile ceasefires between Israel and Lebanon, and that may, underline may, help create space for real progress. Markets are responding as...
No, they said that they... Man, these people... All right, let's go to this now. This says, blindsided Caroline Levitt told to wait and see as DJT makes shocking decision, right? I ain't gonna lie, she a fine woman. This is a fine woman right here, y'all. She 28, I believe. Dang, what's going on? Yeah, she 28, right? But let's get to the this video. It says political experts warns Iran ceasefire collapse could spin out of control. Right? Let me
President Trump says Vice President J.D. Vance and U.S. envoys Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner will return to Pakistan tomorrow.
Hold on. Let me see how much time we got, y'all.
For negotiations to end the war in Iran. It comes as the Strait of Hormuz remains closed. Yesterday, the Iranian military announced the strait would be closed to Western shipping once again. They said it was in response to the U.S. continuing its naval blockade of Iranian ports. A 2-week ceasefire.
And that's what I'm saying. They keep coming and saying that they're making deals with Iran, but you're blocking, so to speak, their money from coming, you know, from the Strait of Hormuz. But what they're actually doing is making these people richer, because by blocking it, now they can upcharge everybody for all of the stuff. They can do whatever they want to do by you doing this stupidness. And plus, they're getting more allies on their side because you're stopping, or not only are you stopping oil from leaving, you're stopping it from leaving to the countries that it's supposed to go to. So it's like, Babylon the Great is causing all these countries to be fed up with her. They hate the whore, right?
Between the U.S. and Iran expires this Wednesday.
Maybe I won't extend it, but the blockade is going to remain. But maybe I won't extend it. So you have a blockade, And unfortunately, we'll have to start dropping bombs again.
In a post on social media early this morning, the president once again threatened to target Iranian infrastructure like bridges and power plants if Iran does not agree to a deal. Joining us now to break down these developments and all the week's political news is UC Santa Cruz political.
Now, look, if they do that, then just expect pretty soon for power outages and things to happen here. These other countries are already, see, look, in the previous video, I made a video speaking about how certain products or machinery that Babylon the Great, aka America, has that is manufactured in other in other countries. They have mechanisms inside of it where said countries can manipulate and hack into those mechanisms that's inside of the machines that these other countries make, and they can cause disarray and chaos to happen here. And a lot of those parts that they have intertwined into the energy grids, right? They have intertwined into your cranes, your like things that you need for infrastructure, right? They're intertwined in these mechanisms, right? These countries are going to start hacking Babylon the Great, and they already started doing it with the police force. Certain things that these police forces have been getting hacked. And I said once again in another video, I'm like, if they wanted to, or when the time is right, they can hack into their system and cause everybody to be wanted. You know what I mean? You know how people be, they commit a crime and then they have a warrant out for their arrest. They can put a bunch of warrants out for a bunch of different, you know what I mean, and cause chaos. And then when the people get down to the police station and they run it and they realize that this isn't right, and then now they got a mixture between innocent people and non-innocent people. You know what I mean? And it just caused chaos and madness in their system. Right? Had the police running a frenzy, running around in a frenzy and all that, right? Man, I'm telling you. And then that could cause an uprising. Like the type of things that they can do will be internal things that you wouldn't even think of, like to be an outward thing that happened. But that could literally cause an uprising because everybody already, tight about ICE, and it's people been tight about the police. You know what I mean? 2020 been showing everybody, 2019, 2020 and on up. They've been showing influx of police brutality and all this junk, right? So this could easily turn into how insurrections can come about, right? The second Ezra chapter 15, verse 14. Woe to the world, them that dwell therein, and them that dwell therein. Salakia. How much time we got? All right. It says, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, right? And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands, right? And these swords don't necessarily mean like an actual sword. This sword is just representing tools of war, right? Mechanisms of war, right? And this could also be with the hacking, like how they hack, systems and stuff. This can also be this as well, right? And it says, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. We know this can be civil war. This is going to be people against people, police against, you know what I mean, ICE. It could be a whole bunch of different, equations of things that could happen. And it says, for there shall be sedition among men. And we can look up this word sedition. Sedition. Right?
Sedition.
conduct or speech inciting people to rebel against the authority of a state or monarch, right? The authority being the police. And I'm just using that. And then, people are already uprising against DJT because they like, he is sending everybody into this war. And it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing all this foolishness for? People is reading in between the line. This man is being revealed, right? This man is being revealed. This 2 Thessalonians 2:3. Let no one deceive you in any Salagia. This ain't the King James, y'all. 2 Thessalonians 2:3. How much time? Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, which is Esau Edom, the so-called white man, the son of perdition, the son of destruction, right? So he's being revealed in this time, y'all. And people are gonna start rebelling, right? And there's gonna be a lot of talk of and there's been a lot of that on Instagram, right? Let me pause this. Not on Instagram, Salakia, on TikTok. Now, these Edomites have been calling for Jake to do uprisings, and they waiting for Jake to be the face and to give their bodies as a sacrifice to the causes that's happening here in Babylon the Great. They are waiting for Jake to do so, and Jake is real good at causing a sedition, to happen, right? A conduct or speech inciting people to rebel against the authority of a state or a monarch, and they're waiting on this, right? Now something's gonna happen to where they're gonna do something to cause Jake to get up and start, or it's just gonna happen regardless, and Jake gonna just get caught out there. But here a video on TikTok saying the same thing, y'all. Let me see how much time we got. Matter of fact, let me just start it.
Post that was just like, the fact that people aren't rioting in the streets of America is truly astounding. And the first comment under it was, they're waiting on black people to do it. And now that I think about it, that is literally facts. The reason why things are not happening right now the way they should, and riots are not happening the way they should, is because
look, they've been wondering why Jake ain't getting involved and all of the craziness that's been happening, like with the Epstein files. Because, if Jake was really involved in that, it would have been an uprising. It would have been an uprising. Jake would have went out there on the streets, but it would have gave these Edomites an excuse to delete Jake, right? So Jake is catching on like, man, we're going to just mind our own business. This ain't got nothing to do with us, right? But, yeah, y'all. So let me play this video a little bit. But these Edomites, they are waiting for Jake to do something, so there can be a uprising that's happening, and it eventually is going to be that. It's just it ain't no telling if Jake is going to be the one that sparked that thing off, right? Because it says, "For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another," right? So whatever that causes the civil war between us, it could be ICE doing what they're doing. And now look, not even ICE didn't get Jake riled up. Well, I would say Judah. It didn't get Judah, Benjamin, and Levi all riled up like that. But it got Northern Kingdom, they out there protesting and stuff like that. But yeah, so that didn't do it quite well as we know it right now. It didn't do it, because you never know. And this summer that's coming up could very well be that ticking time bomb, right? Because once they start coming down on Judah, Southern Kingdom, right? Once they start coming down on Southern Kingdom, shall I say, then things is gonna really, increase. Then Jake will have a reason to start doing some sedition, right? When ICE hit them. So let's go back to this and listen to what he said. I'm gonna go back some more.
is truly astounding. And the first comment under it was they're waiting on black people to do it. And now that I think about it, that is literally facts. The reason why things are not happening right now the way they should and riots are not happening the way they should is because they want us to be on the front lines of it, like we always are of every revolution in American history. But this time we don't want to do it because we know how that turns out for us. It just turns out them labeling us as the usual suspects. It's just an easy excuse for them to put violence on us or attached to us as like a part of our character or something.
Jake like a lion crouched down, right? Jake is in that docile state right now where they, in a sleep-like state, but Yahweh Shai gonna get him pumped back up. Yahweh Shai gonna get him turned up, right? So let's So this is 2nd Esdras 15 and 16. It says, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power." Right? So that's pretty much what I'm gonna play on this, y'all. Where's that other video at? I'll play a little bit more.
Woodcock and Jared Kushner will. Joining us now to break down these developments and all the week's political news is UC Santa Cruz political hit.
Matter of fact, it didn't even get to it. The China. Here we go.
Iran wants to make a deal.
And where it hurts their wallets.
They're not doing any business. They're unable to do any business because of the blockade.
Underline may help create space.
Better position today.
Mr. Ambassador, it's good to see you as always.
Laura, thanks for having me. And Israel is at war with Hezbollah. Now, the Lebanon, or let's
working against their own economy, but
Communist Party has been profiting handsomely over the past number of years from cut rate discount Iranian oil. That got turned off a week ago with the president's blockade of Iranian shipments. So China's going to be feeling the hurt right now in much the same way that the mullahs in Tehran are starting to feel the hurt. But let's be clear about what we face here. China is a full spectrum competitor to the United States. They're helping our enemies everywhere they can, and it's not just Iran. So as the president eyes a meeting with Xi Jinping coming up in the coming weeks, I hope that he and his advisors are prepared for some tough conversations about America's chief geopolitical rival.
And then we're learning about this jet fuel shortage, which people think, oh, it's only in Europe. That's not going to impact the United States. But this could have a ripple effect across global travel because of what's happened to both the price of jet.
And then they just had they sent out an emergency. What is it called, y'all? An emergency. It's like an emergency warning or whatever to the Americans, telling them to be circumspect on where they traveling. Be more vigilant when you out there traveling and stuff, because the world is turning against Babylon the Great, right? So not only is they doing that, and it's going to be a hard time traveling to these other places anyway, which will go into a man shall want to go into a city won't be able to. This is 2nd Esdras 15 and 17. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, right? And when you think of city, you think of like Detroit, New York, right? These type of places, Miami, these type of things, right? But these aren't just the only things that are cities. Babylon the Great itself, America itself, the United States itself is a city, right? Any place where they have citizens is a city. And if you're a citizen of the United States, that means that this place is a big city, right? Just as well as these other countries as well. They're just called countries now. These other nations, they're just being called that now in this time, but they have always been great cities, basically, right? Populated with citizens. And you won't be able to go there freely. You won't be able to travel, you know. And on a micro level, you definitely, when the blockades come from the armies that's gonna be here, right? When they come and set up blockades where you can't just travel as freely as you want to, yeah, it's gonna be, you ain't gonna be able to travel to an actual city here, right? So that's pretty much what I'm gonna get on this, y'all. Like China is starting to feel it, so they're about to enter into the chat, right, so to speak. So hopefully, you brothers and few sisters have been edified, and with that, I'm gonna give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Shalom, y'all. On to the next one.